Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us here on the Daily Racing Form YouTube. I'm Gino Buccola alongside Mike Beer with producer Bobby helping us out as we head out to Churchill Downs for opening Sunday there. We'll have a preview of the race of the day. This one is the Grade 3 Street Sense. And remember, for every race of the day, you can get free past performances on the website at DRF.com. Let's take a look at the field for this one. Mike, I got to say, I think Street Sense sometimes is a little underrated. You don't really hear him talked about all too often, but you look back at his overall form. This is a really, really nice horse who broke the curse, right? The Breeders' Cup
Oh,
Juvenile
yeah.
curse, and it was able to win the Kentucky Derby. We didn't see many of those horses who were good at two be able to continue their success. Some of them got injured, some had bad luck, but he was good. Wins the Derby, runner up in the Preakness, wins the Travers, and then fourth in the Breeders' Cup Classic at the end of the year. He was just a really solid horse.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot he'd broken that curse. You're right about that. Yeah, you're right. He was not only was he a really good horse, he was a really good horse during and in the midst of a great 3-year-old
good group, a good crop, right?
Facing real
Yes,
good horses. Yeah,
absolutely. So shout out to him. This Grade 3 is named in his honor, mile and a 16th, and it's a really good 2-year-old card on Sunday
yeah.
at Churchill, where you get to look at all the 2-year-olds throughout as they flip from Keeneland over to Churchill Downs. So in this Grade 3 Street Sense, Mike, you and I are recording it a little bit early before they have a morning line out, but a couple horses in here who I'm expecting to take some money. You have Universe, who's dropping out of the Grade 1. Champagne finished third, was well defeated that day, but when horses come out of Grade 1 races, they're always going to look pretty imposing on paper. Others who have been impressive recently, Ganas, 2 sprints, no idea really how good this one is. I did comes off of a pretty nice win. And when you look at who he faced in his first couple starts, he's faced some pretty nice company too. I think there are a couple of the horses in here who are going to take some money.
Yeah, I think you probably identified the 3, likely shortest prices. And I suppose maybe the 7 could be involved in that too, off of a pretty fast maiden win. So yeah, it's kind of a wide open race, right? I don't think anybody's going to take too much money in here, but maybe it just centers around, at least at the open, maybe it centers around Universe because he did win first time out pretty impressively, and he's dropping out of a fast Grade 1.
And we move to the pace projector. Let's see how they think this race will set up, where you have some of these lightly raced young horses. They've actually got Universe out on the lead in here. Mike, he's taken the blinkers off. He hasn't even really been on the lead in either of his races. I think that a horse like the 2 stretching out from the sprint races is probably much more quick early, and the intent for him will probably be more to get this guy out front.
I think that's probably true too. I mean, I expect Universe to sort of be forward in this race for sure. But yeah, it felt like maybe the 2, just because he is stretching out after showing speed twice sprinting, that maybe he's the horse. He's got an inside post too, Gino. Maybe they just come out of there, get aggressive, and try to make the lead.
Let's meet the field here for the Grade 3 Street Sense. We kick things off with Vost, who was a debut winner over at Ellis Park. And this one comes off of a third place finish in the Iroquois last time out. Was 3 lengths off, was outside, was 3 deep, then made this big wide move up early on. Couldn't really sustain the rally, grinded up late for third in that. What did you think about that effort, and how does he stack up in here for you?
Yeah, he's okay, I think. I mean, I don't expect him to be part of the pace in here, so we'll see if he gets the setup that he's going to need in this race. I think I looked at him, Gino, and I thought I really liked his debut. I thought he actually did some really good things in that race after not breaking well from the gate at all. And you're right about his last race. He was a little better from the gate last time. He still didn't break that great, but he was a little better from the gate. Then he was just wide all the way around the track, couldn't really reach contention. But he was grinding on pretty gamely at the end of that race. I like him just because I feel like his debut sort of pointed him out as a horse who has some potential, but he's going to need the right trip in this race, and he's going to need to find a better finish here as he goes around 2 turns for the first time.
Number 2, Gnas is 2 for 2. No idea really what he's beat so far, but he's done it on the front end, and he's done it how you'd like to see. Yep. Visually impressive. He was in between a lineup of 3 on the lead. He moved to the front at the top of the lane, and he opened up for a pretty nice W at Churchill last time out. He does on paper look like the one to catch. It's just how far can he take him, Mike, and how good is he, right? We really don't know.
Exactly. We're just going to find out a lot about this horse right now. I like both of his starts. I think he's looked really good winning so far, as a Shadwell homebred too. I mean, there's, the pedigree is interesting, Gino, because there's plenty of pedigree for him to stretch out. He should handle it. It's also an awful lot of grass. And that's one thing that sort of makes me wonder if he's going to ultimately be a dirt horse. But based on his first 2 starts, you've got to stay on dirt with this horse. He's been really good.
Yeah, quick. I mean, you could see him being like a turf sprinter, right?
Yeah.
Just like when you look at his profile, and it makes a lot of sense that that might be where he ends up. But you're right. You just don't know. It doesn't always work out with how the
Right.
pedigree is. And this horse has some ability right now and is precocious and fast. We move to Universe. That debut win at Saratoga was really solid. He was 17-1 that day. And he came back last time with a third place finish against a tougher group behind Napoleon Solo and Talkin. He earned an 82 Buyer speed figure, which is much better than anyone in here has received so far. They'll take the blinkers off. He just kind of feels like the class of the field. He feels like you'll put him in a good spot, and he just doesn't feel like maybe a sexy horse to bet, because I think he'll be a shortish price.
Yeah, I feel that way too. We'll see how they wind up betting it. Well, we're gonna show the replay or the stretch run anyway of the Champagne. And it's just one of those races. This is, earns him the top figure in this field, but it's not like he ever looked like he was gonna really
No.
win this race. I mean, he runs fine. It's a fast race overall, just because the winner was so good in here, and so everybody else gets a fast figure too. He's okay in this race. I liked his debut. I thought he looked okay in that race too. I have no real argument against him. That doesn't mean I'm going to bet him in here if he's the favorite.
He's the type of horse who I will always try to bet on the win, bet against on the win end in a race
Yeah.
like this, where we haven't really seen all that much. The debut was fine, but that race, that's what the race that people are going to be betting him off. And you're right, it was just fine. It was an okay third late on the scene. We moved to Very Connected, who comes off of a victory that was in the slop on September the 21st. He broke out a little bit. He was mid pack. He made a nice 4-5 wide move, and he kept rallying down the center of the racetrack 3 deep. He actually does have a decent little pedigree. He's a half to a horse named Hidden Connection, who was a graded stakes winner at Churchill Downs as well, so ran well at Churchill. Yeah, Mike, I mean, you look at a lot of these horses, he's not too far behind some of them on speed figures. I think my concern was that a race where he preferred the sloppy track and maybe some others didn't. It doesn't also seem like he has that much early speed, so I think things might need to break really well for him.
Yeah, he's just gonna have to improve again. And listen, he was fine in there, but it was a wet track. It was a race that was meant for turf and came off, and so he's probably not beating the strongest field of maidens there, at least on the dirt. But he's got, he did move forward in that race. He does now have a 2-turn win on this track, which almost nobody else can say. Only one other horse has a 2-turn win on his resume. So those are all positives for a horse who could be a fair price.
It doesn't always work this way, and they were on different surfaces. But if you look at the horse who beat him 2 starts back, it's a horse named Password, and that's a horse who was actually behind I Did when they raced against each other in August. So if you're just kind of playing a common rival game and a class game, I'm not sure if he's quite as classy so far, or been maybe as good as a horse who you like, who we're going to get to in a couple minutes. I Did. Let's get to Bricklin first, though, Mike, who comes off of a nose win over at Indy. It's a little bit overmatched in the career debut at Ellis Park. He did take some action that day. He just is very light on speed figures so far. It feels like he's going to have to take a pretty big step up here.
Right. And he's going to have to do it as they stretch him all the way out for this race, too. I mean,
Yeah.
stretching out 3 furlongs for this race. So that's not an easy thing to do. I appreciate the fact that he did move forward from start 1 to start number 2, but he's got to improve again, and he's got to do it by a lot.
We move to I Did, which looks pretty solid in here. I mean, you go through his 3 races, Mike, they all make sense. In his career debut, he's in a tough race behind a horse named Blackout Time. You actually see Blackout Time in his first and second start. He might be the 3rd choice in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. He's a pretty solid horse. He just took a shot at Ted Noffey in his most recent race, but he's going to be a player in there. And in the September 14th race, it was on a sloppy track, but horse at another good start, was showing improved positional speed in that race as well, put himself in the mix. He moved to the lead, and then without really being asked, just kind of kept going and put everybody away. I mean, I think he's a player in here.
Yeah, me too. I think it's fair to question. Listen, it was on a sloppy track last time when he did break his maiden. So, I guess it's fair to just say, to ask yourself if he was a wet track move up, especially if he's going to be one of the favorites in here. I don't look at him that way, but it's fair to look at him that way. You already mentioned he landed in 2 really tough spots in his first 2 starts, and I thought he ran pretty well, particularly in the second of those. And he was just so good last time. I mean, an early move, he took over. They were still on the backstretch when he took that race over, and he just kept going and never really gave that field a chance. I don't know. I was pretty taken with that win last time.
Horse is bred beautifully too, Mike. His dam was
Yeah.
stakes placed. He's a half to grade one winner, three-time graded stakes winner named Sweet Loretta, who was 4 for 6 overall. And of his 8 siblings, 7 of them were winners. So
Yeah.
there's just a lot of solid horses in this pedigree for I Did, I Did. The more we talk about him, the more I'm kind of upgrading him a little more in this race as we move to Incredible to round things out. He's actually a half to 3 of 4 winning siblings, including a multiple graded stakes placed horse named Fire on Time. I thought the debut was like an educational debut
Yep.
where he was wide. He just had a tough post. You're out 11 and post 10, 11, as a, making a first time, making your start and your career debut at Ellis. That's not easy. Sprinting, stretched out, was inside, and actually was right up on the heels, just behind the leader, stayed inside, then angled around and pushed by. I thought it was a pretty good effort for this horse and the real improvement that you wanted to see when he stretched out.
Yeah, exactly. Got the sort of useful debut a debut too, where he took a ton of money. They made him the favorite in that race, despite the tough post, and it was sort of a useful effort. Really built on it last time. He got a perfect trip, but he really ran in that race, and he won pretty convincingly with a figure that's going to put him in the frame here. I mean, he makes plenty of sense in this race, Gino. Of the horses that project to be shorter prices, I was sort of siding with others over him, but I don't have any real knocks on him. He ran fine last time.
Yeah, as we move to selections, there might be 3 or 4 bettable horses in this race, Mike, just depending
Yeah.
on what the price is. Someone might take a little more money. Maybe the crowd wants to bet Universe dropping out of that grade one. But I thought a horse like Ganos with that speed you could move to. I did was another one. Incredible. Any one of those horses, I think if at the right price, I could absolutely see them winning this race and be intrigued in betting them. You're going to land on I did.
Yeah, I like I did more than anybody else in this race. So I'm going to take that horse on top. We'll see what kind of price he winds up going off. And I like your pick is interesting to me. I don't have him in there. I took a long look at that horse. I don't have him in there. I probably should have had him in there though, because I have the 3 and the 7 in there who are going to be short prices that I just don't really like that much. I could have slid somebody else in there. And Ganas, there are things to like about that horse.
He's certainly a pick 4, pick 5 kind of horse
Yeah,
that you want to throw in because he could get the lead. And if they turn for home and this horse has a length or two, you start to wonder, like maybe
right.
he is pretty good, right? So he's a nice horse to have in the mix in some of those late exotics. We'll see what price he ends up going off at. For Mike, 6137. For me, 2736. Whoever you play, however you play them, we wish you the best of luck.